What's up guys, Kellen again here with Droid Life, and so we're still on the OnePlus 2. We're going to take a look at some of the software features now that we didn't get a touch on in that first video. So this is Oxygen OS 2.0, which is their custom ROM. Basically you're looking at stock Android with just some features added on, sort of like what Motorola does with the Moto X and the Droid line. So the first thing I want to talk about though is the fingerprint sensor, which is down here at the bottom, and it's sort of like a touchpad, by the way. I didn't mention that in the hardware video, but it's not a physical button you decompress. It's just sort of a touchpad, which is kind of nice. So I have a fingerprint activated, and so basically if you're at your lock screen, you can just put your thumb on there and it'll unlock. And I haven't had any issues. It also seems to be really fast, by the way. I haven't even had any errors at all unlocking it, which is kind of quick, which is kind of nice. One thing I do want to point out though is you don't necessarily have to have the phone awake in order for it to work. So let's say you pull it out of your pocket and the screen's black and you just put your thumb on there, it'll actually unlock it if you have that thumb set up as one of your fingerprints. So it's pretty cool and it's been really fast. Other than that, app drawer, pretty standard stuff there. Swipe this down, notification area. You can adjust all of your quick toggles if you want. That's not necessarily new. What is new though is if we swipe left, there's this thing they're calling the shelf. And so the shelf is basically a section here for frequently used apps and then one for frequent contacts. And you can actually change this art up here if you want as well. They're saying that this is in beta. I'm guessing that's because they're gonna find new widgets and things like that to add to this to sort of make it more robust. If you don't want to use it, you can turn it off. All you do is long press, go into settings. You can see right there, the shelf you can actually turn off. They also added some icon packs in here. So if you don't want to use this sort of stock material icon, you can actually change that, which is kind of a nice touch. So if we go back here and I'm actually going to jump into settings. So if we're in settings, we'll start running through some of this stuff. So buttons, obviously I have the capacitive and physical button down there turned on as my navigation buttons, but you can toggle on-screen buttons. Happens instantly. You can swap buttons as well. So if you want your back and app switcher switched like Samsung does it, you can do that. You can do that with the capacitive buttons as well. And always enable home button is something I have on right now. So even though I have the on-screen buttons, I can still tap that button down there in the bottom and actually will take me home, which is kind of a nice touch. One thing I think is pretty cool though is they're allowing you to long press and double tap on some of these buttons down here. So actually let me turn the on-screen buttons back off. And so all of these buttons down here, these capacitive, can be sort of set up to complete certain tasks. Like right now I think I have a double tap launches the camera on the home button. If I long press on the home button, it launches that shelf. And so you can have it do a whole bunch of different things actually. So let me go back in there and show you. So long press, you can see here's some of the things like recent, search assistant, turn off screen, open camera, voice search. Those are just some of the options there. And as long as you have the capacitive buttons on, you can actually do it for all of the different buttons. So you can really create some nice little shortcuts there. I am going to turn the on-screen buttons back on because I'm just normally a fan of those. If we scroll down here, there is a gesture section. So you can double tap to wake this phone. You can draw circles to open the camera, V for a flashlight and some of that stuff, music control. So that stuff's not necessarily new to this phone. Go back. So display, nothing really new in there. Storage, battery, users, all that stuff. Here's the fingerprint sensor section. So I do have one fingerprint on there, but I believe you can add at least 5 on there. Customization, not much going on in here other than you can actually switch to a dark themed settings. So we saw that in the Android M preview. They're doing it here as well. And they are also letting you customize when you're in the dark theme, which color you want to be your accent. So we could go like Droid Life pink and then, oh, now we have pink accents. You can also change colors for your LED notifications, which is kind of cool. So just back out of there and keep scrolling. So other than that, location, app permissions, accounts, and none of this stuff has really changed all that much. Here's the about phone section. So you can see this is the A2003. It's running Android 5.1.1 and there is that Oxygen OS version 2.0. So we'll get into probably camera and stuff more once we have an actual review unit, but I can just fire it up for you here. And it's 13 megapixels with OIS, f2.0. It should be a pretty decent camera, assuming they've tuned it correctly and all of that stuff. So it snaps photos fairly fast. It should be great. So anyways, this has just been a quick tour of the operating system. We'll have some more. We'll have comparison with the OnePlus One, some of the accessories and things like that pretty soon. We're Droid Life. Peace.